getting approved. Overall, it's
Oh
for the
yeah,
industry,
it's
it's pretty
a big
interesting.
deal. We just need India to sort itself out now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Ayush, are we set to go live?
Yeah, we are live.
Ayush, chat would work. So it shows me we are live. So are we already live? Great. Okay, we are live. And what an historic day, guys, today. And it's been 15 years since Hall Finney first tweeted this out on 11th of January 2008 that we are live with Bitcoin. So similarly today on 11th of January 2023 we say we are live with Raoul Paul on the very day when the Bitcoin ETF application got approved. This is the day when it hits as a historic milestone in the journey of Bitcoin. A lot of people are calling it as this is the day when crypto got regulated, or we can say Bitcoin took its regulation step. It is somewhere in the terms of legalized. It no The traditional investors, the institutional investors who so far have been shying away from investing into Bitcoin, could be of multiple regulation reasons. Today with ETF coming in, they have an opportunity to invest in Bitcoin through the ETFs. So it's a very historic day. On this day, we have the very own Raoul Paul, and the guy who has a background from India and now is leading the world as helping in phenomenally over the terms of the entire macroeconomic side of things. Building has educated like millions of people out with the Real Vision, platform. Has been educating and like creating that awareness and helping people understand the right value of investing, right side of investing, how should they not fuck up, and how in a way they should be diligently investing. I think we have so Rol, first of all, thanks a lot for accepting our request and joining in here.
No, it's
So
great to be
what
here.
do you think
I
overall?
always want to do more stuff in India. I want to help as many people as possible. So thank
Uh,
you.
Thanks, Raul, and congratulations. I used to share a video to everyone. Maybe it's around 2 3 years back, where you mentioned that someday or the other there will be everything will be regulated, and ETF will be there, um, and it will be like advised for everyone to buy Bitcoin. So, and that day is today actually. And this video, I know you circulated on YouTube probably 2 to 3 years back, and this is, you mentioned that this is going to be bigger than Amazon or any other stuff on the market.
Yeah, if you remember, I've always talked about there's this new financial system that was being built and the old system which was broken, and they were going to meet at some point. And I think they actually really met in 2020 when a lot of people suddenly understood it. But this is the merging of these two worlds.
Yeah.
Right. This is TradFi saying, I get it now. You guys are onto something bigger here. Now, it's not perfect because it's not self custody. It's not the ethos, but it's giving people exposure to an asset. And what's really powerful, why I really care about crypto, is it is the same asset in Delhi as it is in Lagos, as it is in London. The same asset. And it's fractionalized. So each one of us can put 10% of our paycheck in, regardless of how much or little you earn. So now everybody can participate in something on an equal playing field. It's huge.
Yeah, I travel across the globe, and then I've met so many people, and then they say that we bought our first Bitcoin because of Raoul Paul, and we are still holding it here. So
Good.
that's really like changing lives. So I leave the floor to Puneet actually, and you guys can carry on. And I
Fabulous.
hope it's going to be a very fabulous conversation.
Great. Thank you, Si.
Thanks a lot, Sai. Thank you. So, starting with Rol, for the audience, since we're talking about ETF, a lot of them, might not exactly know how historic it is today or what exactly ETF is, what is the value that it bring on table, what does it enable overall for the ecosystem down, both for the traditional financial institutions, for the crypto industry, and overall as part of the macroeconomics. So would love to hear your thought about how is overall
Well,
uh, what is the concept of ETF and what is its importance as on
so
today?
it's a really great example to look at India, right? It's very unclear what you're allowed to do in crypto. They keep closing exchanges, they keep regulating, yet India is one of the biggest owners of crypto in the world.
Yes.
Now, it was the same in the United States as far back, just only recently before the ETF. It's like you had to open a Coinbase wallet. There was, the US were kind of clamping down on other exchanges, finding them, making it really difficult for investors who didn't do the homework, who didn't have an element of, I understand the risks here, I know what I'm trying to do. Those people were shut out. So that's really, if we think about the crypto ownership, it's actually quite young. It's a young demographic.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people who just have a brokerage account.
Yes.
Same in India. People who, the middle classes, they might invest in shares, they might have funds, but to go the other stage and go onto an exchange, buy crypto, figure out how to store it, people are like, oh, I don't know about this. It feels difficult because they want to just use the traditional channel. So now what you've done is, if you think about the two age cohorts, so the young people, they don't
Yes.
have all the money. The
Correct.
old people have all the money.
Yes.
And you're giving them an opportunity to invest in something that offsets all of the debasement of currency by central banks. It has high expected returns, much higher than anything else. And so for them, suddenly they can just call their usual broker or their financial advisor, and they can put Bitcoin into their portfolio. So that's a very big deal, because just the baby boom population in the United States has all of the wealth, and it's 76 million people, which I know for India is small. I mean, that's a village in India, but in the United States, that's a lot of people. And so a lot of wealth will come into this space. So for them, it finally gives them access to this product in a way that they understand. For us, who've been here for a while, it's like we've been VC investors. If you were in the 2011-12, you're like seed investors, and then 2013 you're probably Series A, then Series B, then Series C, and now it's kind of like our IPO. It's actually it's a big deal. What really matters for the space more than number go up, money coming in, is we've now created a bridge between the TradFi world and the crypto world. And over time, more capital will come into this new space, because we know that everybody wants to build on it. The financial system does, the big brands do, everybody does. So the capital will come in to finance an acceleration of this space. And so, yes, because crypto is unique, we get to own the underlying networks. So you own your ETH or your Bitcoin or whatever it is, and it goes up. But it also means that it accelerates everything because more money is available in the ecosystem. So the dreams that we all have of getting to decentralized money and the internet of value and all of this are going to accelerate.
Phenomenal. So, but that's very interesting actually, because if I look at any technology, if I look at how the internet ecosystem came to India, how the smartphone ecosystem came to India, they were early adopters who were young people, technology savvy, who came in, who started using this out, then started educating the parents and the other senior citizens out on how they can start using it, and now everyone is benefiting out of the entire ecosystem. And today we cannot imagine our world without smartphones or without internet. So drawing a
Yeah.
comparison similarly. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, even if you think about UPI,
Exactly. Yep. Yes.
I mean, now your parents will be using UPI seamlessly.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's incredible.
Correct. And with that, the entire adoption. So very right, very amazing point again, Raul. In terms of UPI, today I see an end vendor who is just selling vegetables across the street, or a rickshaw wala who is helping people commute from one place to another. all of them accept UPI. So that is the adoption that it has created. But it took time for about, like a lot of fintech revolutions came in, early adopters were there, regulation came in, and now it's towards the mass. So is it right to say that so far in the last 15 years of Bitcoin's journey, Bitcoin has been mostly into the technology side, development side. A lot of only like 1% of global population or a maximum of 2% of global population started adopting it. But now, if you're looking at that 2% to be 5%, 10%, 15%, ETF would play an important role in that. What do you think about this?
Yes. So the way that I've always looked at this is crypto.com has a series of data on the number of wallets, active wallets. Now,
Yes.
many of us have lots of wallets,
Yes.
but the number is 516 million. Even
Correct.
last year, when the market was down, in 2022, when the market was down 75, 80%, wallet numbers increased by 42%. Now, they've been growing on average about 100% a year. So I don't know how many active crypto users there are, really truly active daily users, about 5 million, I think, globally. As you said, not a big number.
Yes.
Now that'll double, and then it's 10 million, and then it's 20 million, then it's 40 million. And it doesn't take long. Introduction, I know India's working on it, for example, the central bank digital currency, that'll be on blockchain rails. And before you know it, you've got 1 billion people in India just using blockchain. Now, somewhere that accrues to the underlying blockchain technology through the token stack. So yes, it's just going to continue to grow. And I think maybe even though the wallets have been growing at 100% a year, we might see further acceleration in the daily users that is faster than 100% a year. It could be 2, 3, 4, 500% a year.
Phenomenal. I think I would. So I was also going through some of the comments that different commissioners made on what their thought process was towards the entire ETF. And one comment I would leave with the audience is made by Commissioner Pierce, who today in her article that just went out live, she mentioned that I'm just quoting her. So, Ayush, maybe we can also share the screen and we can show to the audience exactly what she has mentioned in her article. But today, she writes that it is time for, she mentions, although this is a time for reflection, it is also a time for celebration. And she's not I'm not celebrating Bitcoin or Bitcoin related products. What one regulator thinks about Bitcoin is irrelevant. I am celebrating the right of American investors to express their thoughts on Bitcoin by buying and selling spot Bitcoin ETFs. And I'm celebrating the perseverance of market participants in trying to bring the market a product they think investors want. I commend applicants' decade long persistence in the face of the Commission's obstruction. So, this is very, interesting angle that the entire, it's a win. It's a win that as an industry, collectively, we have made together. We help not only, the journey was a decade long. First applicant that came in for an ETF came a decade long. A lot of applicants were rejected, and finally today it got accepted. So, what do you think, Raul, about overall? Is it a win for the industry that the technology is actually being accepted? The technology, people now understand the importance of this technology. People understand that Bitcoin is something that investors wanted, and now it is live there. What do you think about this?
As an investment, it's good because the ETF is an investment vehicle.
Yeah.
It is not a technology vehicle. So we still haven't won that battle. We've won the battle to say this is an investable asset class, and it's a very exciting one because as a technology, it's growing fast and the adoption of it's growing fast. But what we haven't got is the acceptance that the technology should be integrated in everything we do. So that
Correct.
battle is still to come, which is why people keep asking the question, well, where are the applications? And half of them they don't see, like stable coins, very important application. Most people just don't really understand. They're expecting some Apple moment, and it's not. It's just the gradual integration of this in everything we do. And before you know it, there'll be a central bank digital currency, a rupee, and I know that it's in beta test right now. And before you know it, your auntie will be using blockchain without even realizing it.
True. True.
And that's,
And
so, but we got that technology battle still to win. The investment battle is good, but the one I really care about is actually still India, because the population is so young. Everybody really gets it. They really want the opportunity. It's a chance to get ahead and participate in the global system. But the regulation's been slow.
pretty interesting. No, totally by your point, Raul. And when it's a good win for the cryptocurrency or investment point of view, but when it comes to technology, I think the best way of I liked what you said, right? What you said, that my auntie could be using in blockchain without even knowing, and I think that's how technology should be. I should not be knowing what is behind it. I should be able to do a lot of things in a better way using the power of technology. And could be stable coins, could be CBDCs, could be the entire way of how I look at like trustless ecosystem together today. Or let's say I want to buy medicine. How do I verify that whether it's a genuine medicine that I'm buying? And so it includes a lot of these, and all powered by blockchain. So I totally buy your vision that technology has a lot of wins to come in. It's just the start, but then as in currency, as an investment point of view, it is definitely one of the milestone event in this journey.
Yeah, I think
Now,
one of the classic examples I use of this is, here we are. I'm in the Cayman Islands. You're in
yes,
India.
yes,
I don't know what computer you're on, what Wi-Fi network you're on, what broadband provider you're on. I don't care what your router is. I don't care what software you're running, whether you're running a Mac or a PC, because I just
right,
press the button and all of the technology just seamlessly works.
yes,
And I know people can't get their heads around it right now, but that's what crypto will be. You just won't know and won't care, because it's just going to make your life more efficient and more effective. And that's all
absolutely.
coming.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's how the entire power is of the technology, and then the value to be delivered. But then lots of packets or lots of information moving in the back end is not actually visible. But the fact that we are all present and digitally at different places, are able to connect and on a real time basis and able to
Yeah.
communicate, I think that's the power of overall the internet.
But also, what's interesting here is it makes the blockchain, the network, a public good
Right.
that we can all share in. So if you think of all of the mobile phone networks around the world added together, and if we could have all owned a stake in that, or a stake in the internet, right? Because this
That's
is
the
the
power.
money and value layer of the internet. We
Yes.
all get to share. That's never happened before. It's not by one company. It's just by the blockchain
By the
technology
public.
itself.
By the
It's by,
public, or by the
yeah, it's a public
nodes.
good. It's a public good.
Very interesting. So, Raul, one question, since like it happened today, it's all good. But then this happened after 10 years of declining the applications down. So, what do you think? What is the potential harm, or maybe the actual harm, that the delay of accepting the ETF did to this industry? What could have happened if this application that got accepted today uh, could have been accepted few years ago? How would the landscape look like? Or do you think today was the right time? Accepting it early could be premature, but today was the right time. What's your thought about this?
That's a really interesting question. I, most of us who've been around the space for a while have had to learn how to deal with volatility of an early stage technology asset, right? It's not easy, and everybody makes mistakes, which is why I'm trying to help people that don't fuck this up, trying to teach people how to stay the game to generate the returns. I'm not sure that regular investors would have been ready without all of the hard work done by the community. Now, maybe 2020, it could have happened then. But before then, I think it wasn't really able to. But it has cost the United States a loss of advantage. A lot of this came out of the US. A lot of the great companies were built from the US. And then the
Right.
US, having the world's reserve currency and the entire Eurodollar banking system and everything else, went like, no. We don't want this. Much like, India doesn't want capital to leave the country because you've got a closed capital account. So,
Yes.
and China with the same. Everyone's like, no, let us figure out what this is first.
Hmm.
So I think the US disadvantaged themselves. And I think that will have slowed down the capital because the US is the largest capital market. I think it would have slowed down the capital into the space, and maybe we would have been further advanced. But I'm not sure that retail investors would have truly understood it at that point, and we might have done ourselves more damage than good. I mean, there's still, a bunch of these baby boomers are still going to have to go through a crypto down cycle, and they're going to have to learn the hard way that this takes some
Yes.
guts.
Absolutely, yeah, because in stock market, like usually the movement is 5%, 10%, 15%, or maybe 20%. But here in Bitcoin, it could, move in 30, 40% on a daily
Few
basis.
days.
Maybe not Bitcoin, but other coins. But, it does move 30, 40% on a daily basis. So it requires that maturity, it requires that sensibility to understand how the market works before you actually, uh, otherwise it's very easy to panic sell or like panic buy in this industry, but then the larger value comes around once you start looking at the complete macro vision of the cycles of
That's
crypto,
right.
how things have
Because
been.
a lot of people come in with a speculative gambling mindset. They think,
Yes.
oh my God, this is the world's biggest casino. This is amazing. I want to buy that. And that's going up and this, right? And they all lose money.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I do a lot of podcasts now in India, and there's a lot of these young kids, like you speak to university, they're like, what's the next 1,000x token? I'm like, that's the wrong attitude. Just give it a bit of time, understand the fundamentals. You can do some degen trading, but just get yourself set up for success first. So there's still a lot of education to go because people still think of it as a wild casino when it's not. It's actually a wealth generating machine, which is amazing. But you have to not fuck it up.
So again, like this is what something I wanted to ask in at the later point, but since we are now discussing this, uh, I totally buy your point that a lot of people, the new age people, come into this ecosystem, come into this industry with a mindset that I invest in crypto and then, like within a year or so, I'm making 1000x, 10,000x, and then I'm driving Lamborghinis, I'm driving, I'm buying a huge house and all of that setup. But these sort of ecosystem players do a lot of harm when it comes to the overall adoption of the technology, because a lot of people, a lot of the focus then still remains around how do we like create that pump and dump mechanism. A lot of focus is still there on the speculation point of view, but very less focus is then actually on the technology point of view. So as someone who have been in this industry for a very long period of time, you know what would you guide the players who are entering into this space as? What do you think should be their course of action in this ecosystem? How do they start their journey in the crypto industry? How do they do things right? What could be like some of the fundamental things that they need to understand and while they are here? So any thoughts around that?
Yes. Firstly, educate yourself. I know it seems like I don't want to do that. I just want to make money.
Yes.
You will massively increase your probability of making money if you understand what you're doing. Understand how to trade if your time horizon is trading, or how to invest. What to invest in is the other really important thing. So I think that is, it can't be more important. You have to be patient. But this space moves fast enough. You don't need leverage in a space that, Solana last year was up 10x.
Yes.
You put a few thousand rupees into that, that's suddenly a lot of money, right? So
Yes.
people just need to focus on learning what this space is about, what the real opportunities, and how the actual people make money. Because if they were to actually find the truth and say, well, who's made the most money out of crypto? Almost all of those people have been long-term buy and hold investors. I don't know many people who've made money from trading. Even if they do, it may be 10% or 20% of their book, and the rest is buy and hold. So firstly, people need to understand that. But I think India's a good opportunity for a career in the industry as well.
Right.
And that is another way. If you look at the people in Silicon Valley, a lot of these people got rich, not by being the owners of the companies or the founders. And you see it with, there's a ton of Indians over there, product managers, developers. They get share options wherever they go, and they're making a lot of money. And they change, 4 or 5 companies, and they make a lot of money. Now, in India, there's going to be a large startup ecosystem in crypto because there is the talent and the technical ability, and you've got Polygon are there, and there's people leading the way. So I would urge people to think, if you're looking at your career, aim towards a fast-moving industry. Crypto and AI are the 2 fastest of all. And learn from being in business, because you learn a lot. But then you'll also get paid in some tokens as bonuses. You'll have a stake. You can move on. You can build your own business. Having a tailwind, a secular tailwind of a trend behind you is the most idiot-proof way of having the best career. What's really hard is if you go into an industry that's dying or slow. But if you've got an industry that is really rapidly accelerating, then there's that. So education, and then throw yourself in, get involved, build stuff, join companies, help out, because India has a huge opportunity here.
Again, I think that's a very deep insight for people out there. So because it's not that you can make money from this industry by sitting outside. It cannot be in a way that you're not involving in what the projects are doing. You're not involving in what's happening with the community. You're not involving with lots what happening, because cryptocurrency has no borders, and an event that can happen in United States can impact the entire ecosystem, the entire currency, and similarly, an event that is happening in some other country. So this is a lot of a global in nature. You have to be vigilant about what's happening in globally. You have to be vigilant about what's happening within a project, what's happening, in the ecosystem overall. And I think in order to be part of this, in order to learn or educate what it is, you need to be inside the industry. As in, you need, either you could be as an employee or a contributor to a project, or you could be actively engaging on various sessions, on various knowledge based pools around. I think that is the key takeaway for users here. It cannot be that I just enter into an exchange, buy a Dogecoin or Shiba coin, and then aim to be millionaire here.
I think that's a really important point. Look, this is a global community.
Yes.
And, if you ask people in India, where would you love to work? They'd say the United States or the UK or whatever, right? You can work there virtually. We've got our CTO from Real Vision is in Mumbai. It's like you can work globally for one of these US, UK companies or an Indian homebred company. So you get what you want without the difficulty of trying to find a job, getting a green card, all of that stuff, right? But also, as you importantly say, you should be an active participant in the community. Now, it's okay. You'll join the community. You don't really know what's going on. Twitter's a great example of that. And after a while, you'll get to learn who the players are, what they're talking about, and you'll see new projects, new opportunities. You'll get the vision of the hive mind is, what is happening, what is important. And from that, you'll filter out signal from noise. It takes a while. It's not easy, but you'll get there. And if you are part of the community, then something magic happens, which is opportunity. Opportunity will come your way. You put out good karma by being active, helping educate people, doing what you can, and good karma will come back to you.
I think right to the point, and a lot of people need to understand this. And overall, the mindset is, how can I start making in quick money. But then this is an industry where you need to be patient. A lot of speculation can happen in on a daily basis, but then the ones who look at this from a long term, the ones who are patient, and the ones who are doing things right. When I say doing things right, could be people, looking at the company, what does the project do, looking at the fundamentals, rather than just entering into the market by FOMO, or getting influenced by wrong set of people, or getting influenced by influencers around, and then just quickly entering into any project for making in quick money. I think that is the mindset where a lot of people would lose money. This industry has no exceptions. It is similar to how the entire financial markets has been, and you have to be patient, you have to analyze things, you have to be there in long to actually start making money. While it may look lucrative that I can make money here in few days, but it is not the case. It's only theoretically. Practically, you have to be in the space for long. So moving on the next question, Rod. uh, you know you have seen Bitcoin evolve for many years now, I think more than a decade now. And overall, how do you think this industry has shaped with time? What was the journey overall, and how the entire landscape of not only just the cryptocurrency aspect point of view, but the blockchain as a technology point of view? What are your thoughts, and how does the entire ecosystem has evolved over years?
So when I first dug into Bitcoin 2012, I saw it as a way of storing all traditional securities. Because at the time, we'd just gone through the financial crisis and the European crisis, and banks were blowing up. And what happened was people thought they had their assets in a bank, and they found out that they weren't their assets. They were the bank's assets. And when Lehman Brothers blew up, people realized that the same collateral was being relent 30, 40, 50 times. So when it comes to bankruptcy, you've got a small portion of what you thought you should get. And I thought, well, when I first saw Bitcoin, I thought, okay, we can use blockchain to figure out who actually owns what in a very levered financial system. So I thought, well, there's the new big application. The token itself, interesting, but the blockchain technology, interesting. That's what I first wrote about. That hasn't played out yet. So that was 2012, and here we are 12 years later, and that hasn't happened. Then there was the crazy ICO boom, the launch of Ethereum, the launch of the smart contract, and that was the market just kind of trying stuff, throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what happens. A lot of failure, a lot of scams, a lot of pump and dumps, but that was the launch of smart contracts. And what that happened, then suddenly Ethereum rockets to become the second largest ecosystem, and the ecosystem that most people have built on top of. So that's amazing. Also, in the last cycle, it was DeFi and NFTs, new uses of smart contracts. It's an applications layer on top of smart contracts, which is on top of the blockchain, right? So you can see how we're building. And so NFTs this time around, or last time around, were art and PFPs, community-based stuff. But that's just the start. When you've got something like Solana, that you can now mint 1 million NFTs for $100, well, we can use that for tickets. So why does not the Indian railway system have tickets all on blockchain, on NFTs? And if I can't make the train, I can just sell it to somebody else. That's a very efficient way of using capital, or for concert tickets or cricket tickets or whatever it might be.
Right.
And DeFi will just keep growing over time. People are still experimenting, they keep failing, but things keep growing. Uniswap, Aave, these things have been tested and tested and tested. MakerDAO, and they keep moving forward. So it's really interesting to see. So my view on this coming cycle, it's more of an everything, everywhere, all at once cycle, because I think a lot of the key technologies have been built.
Right.
And now it's the application. So about 65 billion went into venture capital in the last cycle.
Right.
That should come through to applications and projects in this cycle. So I think we're all going to be a little bit shocked by some of the things that happen, much like we're all a bit shocked by AI right now, because there's a new innovation every day. That's what I think we're about to walk into. So yes, it didn't play out as I imagined. It seems that the financial system is going to be the last to use it when it was the most obvious for them.
Right.
They just were kicking and screaming because the regulators were so scared. Meanwhile, a bunch of technologists and a bunch of nerds took it and turned it into, at peak, a $3 trillion asset. It's amazing. I mean, really, as a friend of mine, Melton Demiras, says, is we memed $1 trillion asset into existence, which was Bitcoin. I mean, it's amazing. By the power of the community, the power of conviction,
Yes.
and the power of people having fun and enjoying it, created $1 trillion asset. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Absolutely. A lot of times, Raul, I hear a question that, like a lot of these are questions that I hear from my parents. All these times I've been hearing from them. These are the questions that when I explain things to, some of my friends who do not understand blockchain, some of the people who are, like just understanding this industry from the outside, they ask me this thing, that when we look at equity markets, when we look at any other commodities, there is something fundamental behind that. There is something to back on. If it's a equity, there is a company's balance sheet, there is revenues, there is profits, and like basis on that you're valuing the company, basis on that you're trading with the company, trading the shares of the company. Similarly with commodities, there is actually something to back it out. But here, like now we are seeing a trend coming in for real world asset backed tokenization. What's your entire view about RWAs, the real world asset tokenization? B, if real world asset is the fundamentals behind crypto and blockchain only through RWAs, or are there other fundamentals as well within this technology?
So, firstly, to go back to your parents, you need to ask them, why does gold have value?
Right.
And they'll say, because it does. No, it's actually memetics. It's storytelling. Humans tell themselves.
Right. Right. It's
And
something that
so,
people have stored. It's limited, and government or bodies control the supply of it. Hence, it
why
got
should
its
it
value.
have value? Why should it have value? It's only because we say it has value,
Right.
right? So it's the power of human storytelling. It's the
Yes.
same thing that creates religions. It's the same thing that creates governments. It's human storytelling to make sense of the world around them. So there is no intrinsic value in gold. Gold is just valuable because we like it. So
Right.
then when your dad buys himself a new expensive watch, you say, well, why that? Because the intrinsic value of the watch is what? 100 rupees, because you buy a watch on the street from, it doesn't cost anything to make a watch. But they don't, they will pay this huge premium because they want the Rolex, I'm like, well, really? Are you trading intrinsic value here, or are you buying a status symbol? And it's a status. Same with a car,
True.
same with art.
Yes.
Why does a Warhol, why is it worth $100 million? Because
Mm.
people say it is. No other reason. It's actually a bunch of paint on canvas. A nice big Warhol, probably in materials, is worth $200.
Yep. But its value is few $1 million just because
Because
of.
humans,
Yep.
because we
So is
ascribe
it all
value.
speculation then?
Sorry?
So is it all speculation then? Like, is it all about perceived value,
No,
or is it all about?
no, it's not about speculation, because people perceive these things to have scarcity. It's actually more about social status and signaling
Mhm.
to show how wealthy you are. It's like weddings in India.
Right.
The bigger the wedding, the more important you are. It's these things are ridiculous, obviously, but we're humans and we like to do these things. We like to create hierarchies. We like to show off. And so we
Correct.
ascribe value. And then somebody else who now wants to be rich, show themselves as rich. They'll go and buy that Warhol from you
Mhm.
to say, I can
Mhm.
be like you, and it creates these kind of things.
Right.
But Bitcoin itself has the same kind of value proposition as gold. It's scarce. Nobody can create more of it, even less so than gold, because you can still mine gold ad infinitum.
Yes.
So it's a scarce asset that's digital. once your parents, send something on UPI to the vegetable guy, you say, well, that's really the same idea, right? Is that valuable to you? Is it better than a bunch of dirty rupee notes and a bunch of paisas in your hat? Is this better? And they're like, yeah, okay, this is just digital money or digital savings.
Right.
And so they kind of get that. But then, as you said, the killer blow for them is to say, yeah, but think when you bought your house, how complicated it was. Think of all the middlemen.
Right.
Think of the lawyers you paid, the contracts that were drawn up. Think of the surveys that had to be done. Think of the real estate agents, and then imagine that being done instantaneously in a smart contract. Imagine you'd be able to buy anything instantaneously. And again, people in India are understanding it more than many because of Aadhaar and the KYC elements. You can essentially KYC with your fingerprint.
True. Now with the face.
Now with the face, yeah. And so there's no real difference with that, because you go back 10 years to get a mobile phone, you'd queue up at the store for 3 days, argue with them, it would never happen. Now it's just like super fast. I remember opening and closing bank accounts in India. It was horrible.
Right.
And that's all gone. So
now it's all digital, yes.
And your parents will understand how much money they've paid in their lifetimes to stockbrokers, why it took 3 days before a share appeared in their accounts.
True.
When they can send money instantaneously over UPI. Like, what, why?
Right.
Why would you want to pay the real estate agent 5% and those lawyers on both sides of the equation? You can change all that. So they will get it. And because India is actually quite advanced in fintech.
True. So this is like the value is more because of the technology that it has behind it, the change in lifestyle that it can bring on table, and the value that like people perceive that there's a value behind it. So
Okay, there's
people
actually,
consider it.
sorry to interrupt, but there's an important point here.
Yep.
Is I'm talking really about Bitcoin when it comes to that. The actual value, a measuring value here, is actually Metcalfe's law. So Metcalfe's law was developed around the phone idea about, what is the value of a phone network? If you've got one user, you can't call anybody. You got two, doesn't really help. You got 8 billion. It's one of the most valuable commodities in the world, right?
Right.
So Metcalfe's law is the value of a network. And what it says is the number of users of the network. Basically, the value of the network is the number of users of the network really multiplied by the number of applications. I know that there's a slightly different definition because it's number of users squared, but really what it's saying is a lot of people on the network and a lot of people using the network. That you can actually value by formula. This is how Amazon works. This is how Apple works. This is how Google works. And so that's how you value a lot of these technologies that have underlying networks. That's why Reliance is so valuable, because it has both an energy network and the mobile phone network and the data network that's built on top of it.
Yes.
Right. So that's why blockchain technology itself, you can value. Now, people have different ways of assessing Metcalfe's law, but it's doable. But Bitcoin as a savings asset, okay, that's really memetics. It's stories we humans tell ourselves. And because 500 million degens say it has value, it now has value. We've memed it into existence.
Interesting. I think this has changed how I have been looking at this technology for some time. So I've been in this space for about 7 years, but I think today I finally have an answer to the question that I've been asked a lot of time, which is what is the underlying value of Bitcoin? So I think thanks Raoul for
It's that,
enlightening me on it.
again, if you just think about what we know today
Yes.
about the network, right? We've built all these application layers. So we've got the blockchain that
Exactly.
records everything in this beautiful, decentralized, immutable thing. And then we've built a finance system, a contractual system, a currency system,
Mm-hmm.
and a whole bunch of other things on top.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so then what is the future expected value of that if it continues to scale? That's what Metcalfe's law is telling you. It's
True.
just technology investing.
Fantastic. And do you want to also add some light about the real world assets, Raul? Like, what do you think about the entire trend shift that's happening now? Earlier, we saw ICOs, then IEOs, then IDOs, then DeFi, NFTs. But now there is a lot of buzz around real world asset tokenization. Any thoughts about that?
People like it because it answers your parents' question. It's like, see, we can use it for normal stuff too. Look, I
Yes.
think every share, every bond, every derivative, all of it, housing eventually, hotel rooms, all sorts of stuff will go on chain. And half the time you won't even know it's on chain. It's just a new way of doing it, much like Aadhaar was a new way of KYCing, right? You just won't even notice. So it's coming. But I don't think it's the holy grail. I think, yeah, great. The financial markets will use it. And that's huge, right? Obviously, that's massive amounts of volume. So that increases the amount of activity on those chains. Great. That means number go up and we all make more money from owning the
Yes.
underlying chains. But I think there'll be more applications than just real world that people won't even realize. As I said, let's imagine the Indian train system is all ticketed via NFTs.
Exactly. Or the cricket matches or everything. These are actually then real world backed.
And then if you think about the cricket matches, that's a really interesting one. So let's say you've got a ticket for the test, right?
Yeah.
England versus India or England versus Pakistan. You can't go.
Yep.
Okay, there are ticket touts and they take a huge percentage. Now you can sell it instantaneously into a marketplace. Bang, it's provable, it's real. Or let's say you go to the match and it's a legendary game. You keep that NFT now. That's going to be valuable because it's a memento of that time.
Absolutely. For example, 2011 India won World Cup, and let's say the attendees who were actually there on the ground witnessing that historic event, that could be memorable, and people would want to look at it. People would want to store as a memory out of it, and that itself would become a historic collection in their ecosystem.
Of course it would. So imagine India wins 10 World Cups over 20 years, and you collect an NFT from each one of those. That complete series is worth a lot of money because people are fanatical about cricket in India and they want the mementos.
Very true. So, Raul, so far you have been educating a lot of people with the Real Vision platform that you have in. Uh, what what made you start? What was the mission of starting Real Vision? I think, have been on the hedge fund side of journey. Then from there you shifted to build Real Vision. What was the thought process, and why did you want to shift it?
So I went through and luckily predicted the financial crisis, which most people in India won't remember, but they'll read a lot about it. And then the European debt crisis, which was equally bad. And a lot of friends of mine went bankrupt. I was living in Spain and the whole property market collapsed. The banking system collapsed. Friends of my parents who are 75 years old lost all of their saving in the bank, which they thought was safe. And I'm like, people come up to me and say, why didn't we know this was happening? And I'm at the middle of the financial system, in the middle of the hedge funds who have all the information. And I realized that ordinary people didn't have it because the media does a bad job. So I thought, I'm going to do something about this. And we decided to start a video company. That was the idea to start with. It's grown into a lot more than that. It's now a big kind of financial knowledge platform and community. But nobody had interviewed the smartest people in finance for long form for an hour to pick their brains. People didn't have access to this kind of stuff. So we kind of changed the whole world. Podcasts like this did not exist before Real Vision. Long form finance content podcasts didn't exist. We invented it. And then it grew from that. And the idea was to help as many people as possible because the times are difficult. There's too much debt. Young people have a difficult set of situations where they can't afford property. Their wages really aren't enough. It's just hard. And I thought, and also retirees are struggling to understand how to navigate this. So we thought, well, let's help people. As part of that journey, crypto started from day one because I was already investing at that point. I'd been investing since 2012 or 13. I started to educate people about the size of this opportunity, and this was going to be the answer to the broken financial system. This was going to give people the opportunity. So I looked back and thought, I wonder how Bitcoin did from the first time I told people that this was the answer on Real Vision. 350,000%.
Phenomenal. Because yeah, I think when you witnessed a lot of these things firsthand, and then the technology was coming in, and it somehow you built a conviction that the problems that traditional financial ecosystem has, Bitcoin is the answer to it. And then you started educating people about Bitcoin as a technology, about blockchain as a technology. I think that's incredible. And how has your journey therein been? Because like you were in the middle of the entire US financial ecosystem. There were a lot of hedge funds. Like it involves it could be stressful, right? Because there's a lot of things that's moving in on a daily basis. And then now from there you have shifted to Cayman Islands. It's is it more of a like peaceful setup there? What
Look,
made you shift from US to Cayman
so
Islands?
if
And
I was actually in the UK,
okay.
working in the city, working for Goldman Sachs, and then running a hedge fund from London, a global macro hedge fund. And it was immensely stressful. You were surrounded by some of the smartest people in the world. You were playing a game of competition with literally the smartest people in existence. And it was amazing. Then I left and said, okay, this is too much. I moved to Spain, which has a beautiful quality of life. And I started writing macroeconomic research and investment strategy for these hedge funds and wealthy people and asset management firms.
Right.
And then over that period is when I started with Real Vision. But what Real Vision did, and crypto overall, was give me this, and this goes back to what we were talking before, give me this incredible global community.
Right.
If I go back 10 years, I wouldn't have thought I'd be on a podcast in India talking about cryptocurrencies. I wouldn't have thought that, I'd be chatting to Mark Cuban, or I'd be chatting to, famous people, or that we'd be surrounded by the smartest people in the world and the most creative people. We got artists, musicians, technologists, finance people, visionaries, all in one space working together around the world. I mean, it's a blessing. So I never thought my life would be blessed. I'd done well, but I never thought it'd be blessed in this way, that I could have a smile on my face, even though it's a bloody stressful industry, as we all know. But I can have a smile on my face and say, this is a lot of fun. What a magic moment in time. This won't last forever, but this magic moment in time, it's the same smile you've got on your face. It's like, it's special. And we even laugh when it all goes horribly wrong, because it's part of the story being written. And the story's a big one, and it'll have its ups and downs. And I just love it.
Pretty interesting.
And I've also loved, importantly, bringing as many people along as possible.
Right.
That's been really important to me, because I don't want, we've got this issue with the rich and the poor. We've got the issue with young people can't afford anything because the debasement of currency over time has made it impossible. Right. And that is going to create big societal problems. It already is. So we've got to give people a chance. And I want to educate. So Real Vision's education, but it's not forced education, written school books. We've got academy courses, we've got written research, we've got interviews, we've got news, we've got all of that stuff, everything to help you, and a community to chat to.
Phenomenal. I think that's very important. The point that you mentioned, in that you want this, you want the journey that you're entering in, the journey that you're being part of, and you should not be just the only one there. You want the ecosystem, you want the community to come in together. You want to transform lives of others. help them understand what does it, how they can, because if one person in a family gets away from where their roots were. For example, if in a pure family that has been poor for generations, it only takes one person to transform the entire next 7 to 8 generations of, like, their entire family. One person can actually uh, transform how his ecosystem is, how their village is, how their future generations are. So I think that's the power of educating even one person towards the right space, towards the right set of investing. And what if we are able to educate hundreds of them, thousands of them, like lakhs of them or hundred thousands of them, and then help them, motivate them towards doing something good, doing something right. I think this can transform the whole world.
I totally agree. I think it can. And all of us in this space believe that it can.
Right.
And we can build a better foundation for society, money,
Yes.
all of that stuff. And I think, that's important. So, one of the things that we're doing to get people through this journey is, I've got this phrase, don't fuck this up. And really,
Right.
it's trying to explain to people how to navigate the crypto space, which is like, don't FOMO, don't use leverage,
Yep.
be patient, buy and hold, store your assets carefully, and just pick the larger tokens and just let it ride. If you want to speculate, do it with about 10% of what you're doing, and the rest just hold. So to commemorate that, we've actually we're minting a free NFT, which
Exactly. Yes.
which then you sign up for the free Real Vision platform, which if people haven't done, they should do, because you've heard me talk about it. There's so much good content. There's AI tools to ask about the content or to find stuff about finance. There's this global network of people. There's tons of people in India in the Real Vision network. There's pricing, there's charting, there's everything there. So if people are interested in learning more and educating themselves and coming with me on this journey, because I'm trying to take as many people as possible, then go to, I think it's realvision.com/CoinX podcast.
Podcast. Yes.
And it's free, so there's no cost or anything. And you can mint the Don't Fuck This Up Solana NFT, which is really there to remind you when it gets crazy in the bull market, which it will do, you will become your own worst enemy. You want to FOMO into the latest cat coin because your friend told you, all of this stuff. Just keep that NFT, keep looking at it every day, come to the Real Vision website, look at the platform, learn what you need. You will be successful.
Absolutely. And I think the entire concept of this is real world asset, guys. This is real world asset backed, NFT. And uh, the access that, the real utility of this NFT is we're able to access the entire, cohort or the course or the academic program that Raoul has designed. And, we would be all able to get a session from the Crypto Academy of Real Vision. We can also enter into live events with Raoul Pal, the very man here itself.
Right. You'll get to see my videos when I've got thoughts and stuff. It's all there.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's a very exclusive access, guys. This is once in a lifetime opportunity for all of us sitting over here. And this is all available for free. Imagine, like learning it directly from Raw, and all for free. So I think none of you should miss this opportunity. The link is here. Ayush, if you can pin that link on this, stream, that would be helpful. Just look at that. It's realvision.com/CoinX podcast. Yep. So you can just go to this link, mint the free NFT, and that NFT gives you access to all of the things that we have been talking about. So with this, to summarize, and or to we discussed this earlier. What guidance would you want to give into the new age investors, to the early investors are coming in? But any closing remarks, Raul, like anything that you think about how the industry is shaping up, or any suggestion or guidance for the new age
Yeah,
investors that we haven't talked about yet?
I do, and I've raised this. I've kind of hinted at it a few times in this. You all need to speak to your politicians. You need
Right.
to speak to your regulators. You need to form a community in India that is powerful, that needs to be
Right.
listened to. That is what it took to get the ETF. It took 10 years of work.
True.
And it requires the Indian community to mobilize and express their views in a meaningful way to get the regulation changed for India. I'm passionate about India. My father's from India. I spent a lot of time in India. I lived in India. It is really important for Indian people. So that's the one thing, if I ask everybody, is get involved in the Indian crypto community and find a way of talking to your politicians and your regulators and explaining why this is important.
Very true, Raul. And I think one initiative that we are part of as Coinex, and there is a lot of effort happening in. So what has happened is there's an industry body association that has been formed under the name Bharat Web3 Association, and the idea is it has all the relevant ecosystem players, and the application is open for all. So it just not includes exchanges, it just not includes chains, it includes project like us, wherein we are here to help people with their taxation, with their compliance, with their accounting. So like all the it involves custodian platforms. So it is an industry body association literally trying to represent the entire industry, and thereby educating aware create generating awareness, interacting with a lot of industry body members, and then trying to help them understand what is the intent of this industry, what are the challenges that they see as regulators in this, and then trying to bridge the entire ecosystem together to help them to help bring in solutions that addresses their challenges, and to also help them understand the innovation or the change in lifestyle that the technology can bring in. So I see, like in the last 1 year, this body got established. There are some little milestones achievement that it has made, but there is definitely a lot of it to come in. There is a lot of work to be done here, but I see, there's something that's happening and towards the right step.
Yeah, and the more people can get involved, the more they can add their support, the
Yes,
better it will be,
absolutely.
and everybody can help.
Absolutely. So thanks a lot. Thank you, Raul, for joining in today. It was enlightening, and it was amazing interacting with you, hearing your thoughts about overall the cryptocurrency, the macroeconomics, the ETF side of things, and the in general utilities and like aspects of cryptocurrency. Thanks a lot for taking your time today on this very busy day where you might be getting a lot of uh, interview requests from journalists regarding the ETF side of things, etc. But then this is an historic event, and we are proud to have you here and hear your thoughts here today. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks.
I'm honored to be invited, so
and
we'll do it
and
again.
and Punit, I think this Real Vision coin, this link for NFT minting is also on your platform on Coinex, I believe.
We would be just taking that live very soon. Yes. So all the
Fantastic.
users of Coinex can directly go to the explore section, use this link to like land into the page, and then mint their NFTs very soon. So yeah,
Yeah,
this
and
is
it's also, if you've not done minted an NFT before, it's a way to learn. It doesn't cost you
yeah.
anything. It's a way to learn how to do it. Setting up a phantom wallet or whatever on Solana, and then taking control, and then you'll understand what these digital assets mean and how that works. It's a cool process to do, and it's fun.
Yeah. And I think this technology is in a way wherein you learn by doing. It's proof of work. So, you actually
Always.
need to do a work to do some work to understand this, and it's learned by doing. So, the entire theory or the entire concept of Bitcoin is proof of work. So, guys, you need to do something to earn something out of it. So, go ahead. Let's
And the
do the
more
proof
we
of
do, and the more we do, the more we compel Raul to come to India.
Yeah,
work.
exactly. Look,
Absolutely.
you bring us 100,000 new people that I can help educate.
Right.
I'll be over to India. So that's what we want.
Amazing.
I want to get as many Indian people along for this journey. And that's why it's a free product. The paid products, they're all in rupees as well. So there's
Right.
different pricing for India for all the paid stuff. So, we're trying to take care of India because I'm passionate about it. Sai and Nippon, who've been helping us massively, are really trying to ramp this up. So then we're trying to figure out when I can come to India and start meeting people.
No, we'll
Phenomenal.
definitely make this happen.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thanks a lot.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Raoul. Thanks, Sai, for helping us organize this. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Raoul.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Ayush.